she's kind of on something. She looks like these days she's on some kind of hardcore drugs. She's selling tickets worldwide. It's very hard if she doesn't have television to be able to back her, but she's booking it, but she's been blacklisted. I mean, what is it? If you're selling tickets worldwide, then who cares? If you've been blacklisted over here, just go to Europe, go to other places and be a comedian over there. She's upset because her bread and butter came from here. The severed head thing did not work out too well. Whose behavior was that on anyway? And nobody really believed you when you went on to YouTube trying to apologize. By the way, you do not have the popularity as Donald Trump could take to Facebook as the POTUS or Twitter and have tens of millions of Americans to be able to get that. You don't have that. You cooked your goose, lady, from what you did. And she's blaming Donald Trump, because of the severed head. She's been blacklisted from the work since insulting Trump. Well, you don't do it. And by the way, the backlash or the blacklisted would have been a whole lot worse if it was Barack Obama's head. And I'm willing to bet you that Loretta Lynch would have probably done something to probably lock you up in her Justice Department. You should be really happy that Jeff Sessions hasn't come after you. You had Secret Service actually come and talk to you. Remember that? I just don't think that the Obama administration nor the left media would have appreciated that if you did that to Barack Obama. People would not dare do that. So it definitely went down the hatch of a lot of Americans that thought that was just funny. They enjoyed it. But apparently not as many people as Kathy Griffin thought, because her career is just, it's not the same. People don't want to touch her anymore. And I think that this is her last attempt to try to get onto something on a, good fitting here. I think comedian is not a good place for you anymore. You're not funny. People don't want to listen to you anymore. Your credibility has been shot. It just goes to show you that your behavior can tarnish everything that you've done. You may have been a very sought-after comedian. I don't think she was great. But she certainly is not as great as she was. And it shows. And especially if you have to go onto a YouTube video trying to bring your point because you can't get onto any television station because nobody wants to touch you after what you did, and especially with your arrogance. People know when you're authentic. People know when you're genuine. People know. People's BS detectors are pretty fine-tuned these days. People can read people pretty damn well. She just doesn't do a very good job. Unlike Clinton, who could just lie to the camera and say that he didn't do something. There's a lot of people, and it's a good thing that not everybody is a good liar. But to me, would have been smart with her, if I gave her any advice, or her publicist would have been to just go away for a little bit. Let it be a mystery of where she went after all of this. Go on an island somewhere, take a long vacation, like maybe 6 months to a year. Have people curious, kind of like the Richard Simmons deal. Remember when he disappeared and everybody thought he had problems, and apparently Richard Simmons was suffering from depression. There was nothing wrong with him other than that. He wasn't dead, wasn't on death watch, didn't have any disease. But then have somebody try to hunt her down, and then she'll be on the interview circuit. She could have wrote a book and did something productive and come out of that and maybe told people, heartfelt that what she did was wrong, though I might disagree with some of the president's initiatives and policies, etc. I should have never, ever partaked in this horrible skit with a severed head from a president. Nobody deserves that. But she wasn't truthful about it. She didn't care less. She was just sorry that it just didn't go over. And to me, it's a good thing that didn't happen. She just needs to go away. If you agree with me, Facebook, we're at forthepeopleshow.com, or just For the People Show. Is that right? Yeah, just query in For the People Show on Facebook, or you can just go to our website at forthepeopleshow.com, click on Facebook, Twitter. You can click on all the social media. We're on YouTube and wherever you're listening. But smartphone devices, we've tooled the software so everything is just nice and easy at your disposal. But we appreciate that. And we have a little survey that's going on that's been pinned up to the very top at Facebook. And we have asked the question, what does For the People mean to you? And we've been having some people weigh in on that and what the program means, why you listen to the broadcast. You can even put down where you're listening, but like to hear from our new listeners, old-time listeners, doesn't matter. But you can weigh in on Facebook right now and let us know what you think about any of the stuff that we're talking about here, because it's water cooler discussion. People are talking about it. We're talking about it. And we try to do it each and every day from a common sense point of view. I know it's very hard to find common sense these days, but we bring it to you. And we like to say free of charge. It's listener supported. So if you'd like to participate in what we do every day, you can give a donation online at forthepeopleshow.com. Phone companies are having a greater authority to block unwanted calls from reaching customers as regulators adopt new rules to combat automated messages known as robocalls. Rules adopted this past Thursday by the Federal Communications Commission represent the latest tools against robocalls, which pester customers and consumers like you sometimes multiple times each day. And if you're tired of it, the agency, which regulates the country's phones, broadcast, TV, and internet services, also hopes that recent big fines will help deter scammers. So phone companies can already block some numbers, not completely, but they're going to be ramping up some initiatives to be able to help out so you don't get annoyed with some of these robocalls and the companies that you didn't ask to call you in the middle of the day or right when you conveniently get in the door after 5 o'clock. So the FCC cracking down on what they call scammers to reach people cheaply and easily using auto dialers, which spew out large numbers of calls automatically. You ever get that call where there's nobody there? It estimates that Americans receive tens of millions of robocalls every day. Not all of them are fundraisers, of course. Pharmacies send automated messages about prescriptions being filled, but too often it's this, that you owe the IRS money. It's Microsoft calling to fix your computer. Free cruises. Spam callers. Folks, they have tricky technology that alters what pops up on your phone's caller ID to a local number, so it fools you, tricks you. And unfortunately, senior citizens, shut-ins, they don't know any better a lot of the times, and they just give their passwords up and their social security numbers. Before long, their identities are stolen and their bank accounts are depleted. There's just so much spam, but it's not even on the telephone only. It's on emails where your bank looks like something's wrong with your account. They ask for a little information. By the way, a little information goes a long way. So now I understand why a lot of people, they don't even like to have an email address. They don't even like to be on the internet because of things like this. Now I wonder, and I don't wonder any longer, actually, because now I understand people, they get it. Too much information, sometimes time, just way too much information. So anyways, consumer alert about all of these things. The FCC going to be cracking down a whole lot further, and this is a really good thing because remember there was the 800 number that you could call, that you could or go on the website to eliminate the callers, but that didn't do any good. These steps that the FCC took this past Thursday is going to let carriers crack down on these spoofed numbers. Now, if successful, that would make running a scam more difficult and save U.S. consumers millions of dollars, a group of state attorney generals said in an FCC ruling. Experts have said that these are solid developments, but won't protect consumers from all unwanted calls. So don't take a huge breath. Not every one of those is from a spoofed number. Debt collectors and political campaigns are not covered under the do not call list. So in longer terms, the FCC supports industry efforts to verify that callers are ready and really who they say they are. So perhaps one day you'll see a green check mark on your smartphone when the caller is legitimate, according to U.S. Telecom. We'll definitely be holding out hope for that. That'll be great because, yeah, they get you on your cell phone more than ever because most people have given up the landlines. I mean, if your cell phone works perfectly at home, and here's a consumer tip for you if you didn't know about this. This is kind of a cool thing. If you want a landline experience in your home and you have the cell phone, this is true. They've been out for several years. You can get a phone that'll actually look like a regular telephone, and you can link. It's called Cell Connect, and AT&T has a great phone out. And there's several other companies that you can incorporate your phone there where you can have a handset anywhere in your house and multiple phones where you can pick up. So your cell phone can be charging somewhere and the caller ID and all your numbers can be imported into a handset or a desktop phone. I actually have one of them in my studio and it works great. So you may want to look into that. Yeah, no kidding. So you don't have to worry about where your cell phone is missing. So if you're in the living room, you can have a handset there, et cetera, et cetera. You get it. But it's kind of a cool thing. There's this huge asteroid that scientists are looking at. It looks like a cigar. A bizarre interstellar-shaped cigar is what they're calling it. Flew past Earth last month. A lot of people didn't see it. It's believed to be the first known asteroid from another solar system, and scientists believe Omura, Hawaiian for a messenger from afar, arriving first, has been flying through space for millions of years and is left over from an alien planet's formation, according to National Geographic. And according to European Southern Observatory, it appears to be a dark reddish, highly elongated, rocky, or high metal content object. They say the asteroid is several hundred feet long and is at speed at 98,000 miles per hour, was fast enough to keep it from being captured in the sun's gravitational pull, thus was never being part of this solar system. The asteroid passed closest to the sun in September 2017 and was reclassified as an interstellar asteroid from a comet, according to the European Space Observatory. Pretty neat. Karen Meek of the Institute of Astronomy in Hawaii said that she found Amuma varies dramatically in brightness by a factor of 10 as it spins on its axis every 7.3 hours. She says this unusually large variation of brightness means that the object is highly elongated, about 10 times as long as it's wide, with a complex, convoluted shape, she says. We also found that it has a dark red color similar to objects in the outer solar system and is confirmed that it is completely inert without the faintest hint of dust around it. Who would have thunk it? Shaped like cigar. There are reportedly, for those that are in ufology, cigar-shaped UFOs. So you can type them in here, but this is an asteroid that is shaped like one. There are some conspiracy theorists out there or ufologists that have said that this thing is not an asteroid. This is actually a ship that looks like a rock. But according to the observatories, they verified the content, but they're saying, no, it's definitely from another world. This has nothing to do. It's the construct of the metal of the ship, and it might look like an asteroid because of the shape, but don't mistake it because it's actually an alien ship. Interesting if that's what you believe and you're listening to Coast to Coast at night, which is a very fascinating show. Art Bell for years hosted that show, but you can listen to everything and anything. And then George Norrie actually took it over. Is George Norrie still the host? I believe so, of Coast to Coast. You have to look that up. If you're into strange things that go bump in the night, that is a fabulous broadcast. I'll never forget. One night I was tuning in, and it's late, but it goes on for, the whole morning for like 4 or 5 hours. And this guy was talking about a mirror that he had purchased at a junk store or a thrift store of some sort. And it was just a very old-looking mirror. And he said that weird things started happening to this mirror after midnight. And he found